तिकीट दिसत नाही
हे असं करू.
कसंही केलं तरी नाही हे उगाच काय तरी माझं ही मीटिंग आहे.
Okay, we are live.
अजून प्रवेश आहे.
ते म्हणाले आम्ही 5 मिनिटात जॉईन करतो.
Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni sir, Professor Dr. A.P. Jamkhedkar sir, Dr. Balmukund Pandey sir, Dr. Anuradha Ranade madam, Dr. Madhav Rajwade sir, Dr. Madhavi Narsari madam, and all the participants watching live, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of Department of Archaeology, Center for Extramural Studies, University of Mumbai, Sati College Autonomous, Itihas Sankalan Samiti Kokat Pranta, Rambhau Marthi Prabodhini and Northern Lights, I welcome you all to the inauguration session of Swaraj 75, redefining the narrative of freedom struggle in Indian subcontinent from 1498 to 1947, an interdisciplinary online seminar. I now request Dr. Madhvi Narsari Madam, in charge Director, Center for Extramural Studies, University of Mumbai, to share the seminar preamble and introduce Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir.
Namo Namaha. It is my proud privilege to welcome the Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir. I extend a warm and hearty welcome to Professor Dr. A.P. Jamkhedkar, sir, who is the Chancellor of Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute, deemed university. I take this opportunity to extend a welcome to Dr. Balmukund Pandey, who is the All India Organizing Secretary of Akhil Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Yojana, who is the guest of honor for today's inaugural session. I welcome our chief guest, Dr. Anuradha Ranade, who is the retired principal, KV Pendharkar College, Dombivli. I also welcome Principal Dr. M.R. Rajwade, sir, of Sathe College, for participating in this inaugural function. To begin with, let me present the preamble of this seminar. The seminar is conducted by the Department of Extramural Studies, Department of Archaeology, Center for Extramural Studies, then Sathe College, Itihas Sankalan Samiti, Kokan Pranta, Rambhau Marthi Prabodhini, and Northern Lights. So it's an interdisciplinary seminar, and the title of the seminar is Swaraj 75, commemorating Azadi Ke Amrit Varsh, which is celebrated for this year as the Diamond Jubilee of our independence. So it is the celebration of the spirit of freedom struggle and a reflection of the sense of Swaraj. We have come a long way, and we are celebrating the Independence Day because of selfless sacrifice and unconventional commitment of freedom fighters who freed India from the clutches of the tyrannical British rule. What is Swaraj? So, according to Dayananda Saraswati, Swaraj is administration of self or democracy. It is necessary to evolve a mechanism to achieve the twin objectives of empowering people and empowering the state. According to Mahatma Gandhi, it is not just the political independence. It encompasses different spheres of life. On the individual level, Swaraj is vitally connected with the capacity for dispassionate self-assessment, ceaseless self-purification, and growing self-reliance. In other words, it is sovereignty of people based on pure moral authority. On the lines of economics, Swaraj means full economic freedom for millions of people who are working hard to enrich themselves. And in the fullest sense, Swaraj is more than freedom from all restraints. It is self-rule, self-restraint, and could be equated with moksha or salvation. In the Indian context, it's associated with values of independence. The value system and its framework need to be brought out in the forefront to understand the concept of Indianness or Bharatiyata. It is the holistic view of Zameen, Jal, Janwar, Jungle, the environment. For only in this protection lies the well-being of man. All the five must have sacred rights, and this should not be just right-based, but duty-based. So we should not just only know what are our rights, but we should know our duties also, and follow those duties to our utmost level, and not just be components of state power. It is always touted it has always touted the ancient Indian past as being inherently one with nature. Today, India is a shining example of what this means to be truly secular and pluralistic. And this is not an imposition by any other country or civilization, but rather a truly organic development that comes from its own legacy. The interdisciplinary seminar which we are conducting today will celebrate these aspects of Swaraj amid strict academic framework. Political and economic exploitation, as well as most important of all, the partition of India, were all attempts by colonial rulers, albeit organized attempts to dilute the idea of Swa. The entire freedom struggle was not only for the freedom from political and economic exploitation from the colonial masters, but also fight to rediscover the lost Swatwa in its real sense. This 75th Independence Day celebration is a great opportunity for all of us to revisit, redefine, refine, and reinvent our lost collective truth with the whole narrative of freedom struggle, to explore and acknowledge the unsung heroes of freedom struggle, as well as to exchange our perspectives to analyzing the unfolding truths about our own past and collective identity. It will not only endeavor to reflect the spirit of freedom struggle, but also offer a tribute to the martyrs. So there are many unsung heroes, and we have to take them into consideration also in this Independence Day celebration. We have to document all the efforts of these freedom fighters, known, unknown, from all walks of life and from a nook and corner of the Indian subcontinent. It is to trace the progressive journey of India for last 75 years in political, economic, social sphere. It needs to encompass the glimpse of the pride of Indian culture and the glory of modern India. It should reflect the light of spirituality of sages, along with highlighting the capacities and strengths of our scientists and thinkers, depicting the magnificent journey of India. So with this preamble to the seminar, let me welcome our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir. So thank you for making it possible in spite of your busy schedule. Let me introduce Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir, our Pro Vice Chancellor. So Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir, had a brilliant academic career with a MTech from institutes of ICT, the earlier UDCT, Mumbai, and LIT Nagpur, respectively, with academic achievements such as Professor J.G. Kane Prize gold medals, etc. He holds the PhD degree under the Faculty of Engineering. So he was working in the Department of Chemical Technology for almost 25 years and has galvanized projects worth almost 20 crore rupees. In his academic career, he received awards such as the Best Research Funding Award, Best Teacher Award at the hands of His Excellency Shri K. Shankar Narayanan, Governor Maharashtra State in 2014. Best Paper Award in 209 by Joka Surface and Coating International, and he has delivered more than 65 invited talks and 125 conference presentations. He has widely traveled to Singapore, Germany, Thailand, Indonesia, the Netherlands, France, Switzerland, Japan for conference presentations, professional interactions, and visit to various universities. In his academic experience consists of working as a professor and head Department of Oils, Oleochemicals, and Surfactant Technology, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. Formerly, he was holding the position of Professor, Head Department of Paint Technology, and Director of UICT North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. So he has an experience in handling quality issues, assessment, and accreditation related practices of NAC, NBA, and NIRF. I got the golden opportunity of working under his leadership for NAC. It was due to his vision, perseverance, attention to the minutest detail that the university got A++ grade. Similarly, it was a wonderful experience while working under him for the establishment of Center for Hindu Philosophical Studies he took all the stakeholders together, convinced opposing elements of the university, and we have a beautiful center for Hindu philosophical studies established in the University of Mumbai. So I also, on behalf of the Center for Extramural Studies and all the collaborative agencies of this conference, sir, I extend a warm and hearty welcome for making it possible to be the chief patron of this seminar. So, not taking much time between you audience and him, I hand over the mic to Professor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Chief guest Principal Anuradha Ranade, then Professor Madhavi Narsare, madam, head Department of Archaeology, Center of Extramural Studies, all the faculty members of Department of Archaeology and Center of Extramural Studies, all the distinguished guests. Whether Professor Jamkhedkar sir has joined?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let me extend a hearty welcome to Professor Jamkhedkar sir for joining our program. So let me extend a warm welcome and making this. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the distinguished personalities and the distinguished audience. Let me extend the compliments to the department for taking up a right program on the eve of the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, when the whole country is celebrating the 75th birth anniversary of our independence, Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. So in that tune, like we are also carrying so many programs under the theme of Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. And let me extend my compliments to Department of Archaeology for organizing a conference seminar on the theme of Swaraj 75, whereby redefining the narrative of freedom struggle in Indian subcontinent, particularly from the period of 1498 to 1947. So that was really an indeed great pleasure, and I must extend congratulations to the department. एक आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव एक ऐसा महाउत्सव है जिसका अर्थ ही स्वातंत्र्य की अर्जा, स्वातंत्र्य की टोटल एनर्जी ये अमृत है. मतलब से द क्रांतिकारियों, स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों, देशभक्तों की स्वाधीनता का एक जो ऐसा अमृत कुंभ है जो हमें सदैव देश के प्रति समर्पित रहने का प्रेरणा देता है. तो वी ऑल आर रिक्वायर्ड टू बी वेरी मच required to be committed, our entire spirit, our entire enthusiasm, our entire pursuit, specifically for taking our country to the greater heights while celebrating the 75th year of independence. So typically, in that tune, University of Mumbai is organizing, has organized and is organizing multiple programs. Like we had one program whereby we tried to undertake a overall analysis of the student movement in pre-independence and post-independence era and their contribution either for freedom struggle and then building the country on the path of progress. So that's what one conference which was organized, which took the entire overview. Another conference was primarily defined for understanding the Indian knowledge system, for which probably we are required to understand the Indian knowledge system, which has formed the basis of the knowledge, the scientific pursuit, which our country has carried over the years. So that was another theme with which the University of Mumbai started celebrating Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. And probably we had, like UGC has given a theme of having 75 crore Surya Namaskar, and University of Mumbai wanted to contribute in that pursuit also, and that somehow we over 1 month carrying program at different colleges, we could cross 25 lakh Surya Namaskar as our major contribution to the country's target of 75 crore Surya Namaskar. Our science departments are also organizing many programs. One of the department carried program primarily to promote scientific awareness and scientific thinking in the school students, and the department went to the schools and explained the scientific temperament, the scientific progress which the country has achieved. And probably like this appears to be the mathematics department has organized a program whereby they tried to understand the contributions of different mathematicians in the pursuit of scientific excellence. And let me congratulate your department also taking up the Swaraj 75 conference. And I hope with this, through this particular conference, you are definitely going to define a right narrative with reference to the development in different areas. And really, when, as Professor Narsai has explained rightly, when we are talking about Swaraj or self-independence, definitely we need to look at that from a different angle, whether it's a independence of in the pursuit of economics, whether it's an independence in the pursuit of the growth, the development, inclusivity. So on that angle, the Swaraj has definitely contributed much to the progress of the country over last 75 years. Now we are definitely on the pursuit of becoming a scientific superpower. We already had a great heritage of philosophy and great heritage of Indian knowledge system, and with that really we would like to take up the best developments even in the theories of philosophy. And probably like while going for this, our country being a truly diverse, having unity in diversity in terms of languages, in terms of religion, in terms of culture, or like, so we'd like to have a right inclusivity so as to accommodate the different languages, different culture, different thinking, different mode of preaching or likewise. So we would like to have a right pursuit for accommodating all this. So I hope with through this theme, we will be able to have a right understanding in different perspective. I extend my best wishes to the organizers, and really with this, through this conference, we will have a very good deliberations which could be taken up in the form of a book and could be spread to the younger, could be taken up to the younger generations. Say for them, really they will be able to understand the entire struggle that was taken up in having freedom for our country, and at the same time the overall developments that has been taken over last 70 years, 75 years. So all that can be easily understood this particular conference. So I extend my best wishes and I just stop at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. I now request Dr. Prachi Muge, Madam, Assistant Professor, Department of Archaeology, University of Mumbai, to introduce our collaborators.
Oh, thank you, Radha ma'am. Good morning, one and all. It is my privilege to introduce all our collaborators of this seminar. Professor Kulkarni, Professor Damkerkar, Dr. Anuradha Ranade, Professor Tanna, and all my colleagues. Good morning, everyone. The Department of Archaeology, under the auspices of the Center for Extramural Studies, University of Mumbai, is taking baby steps. From 2017, it conducts the postgraduate program. It is supplemented in significant manner by field trips, explorations, fieldwork, group discussions, workshops, seminars, and lectures by eminent scholars. Academic flexibility, innovative approach, tie-ups with national and international experts from diverse fields of archaeology, committed visiting faculty, and enthusiastic students are the strength of the department. Our Center for Extramural Studies is a unique center in the University of Mumbai. It provides complementary, supplementary, and off-bit opportunities of learning beyond the walls. It conducts many certificate courses, utility courses, and vacation courses for the people from different age groups and from different educational backgrounds. Our main collaborator, Parle-Tilak Vidyalaya Association, Sate College, now autonomous. Located in western suburb, Ville Parle, is a well-known college which is affiliated to the University of Mumbai. It has traditional courses in arts, science, commerce faculties, and new self-financing courses like BSc BMS, BMM, along with MSc MA in Hindi, MA in Buddhist Studies, and PhD in Physics, and a variety of certificate courses. Some of them have the international collaboration. The college has a very strong research wing, which raises funds from industries and consultancies. The college has its alumni placed in very good positions and in all walks of life, like administrative and defense services, defense, education, art, film, theater, sports, dance, music, IT, media, and so on. Our another collaborator is Itihas Sankalan Samiti Konkan Pranta. Akhila Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Yojana, Delhi, was founded by the revered Moropanta Pingle in 1973 with a central objective of creating a historiography for India with a focus on Bharat's history and culture. The regional chapters are functioning under the umbrella of Akhila Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Yojana, Delhi. Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Samiti Konkan Pranta is such one regional center covering Mumbai, Thane, Palghar, Raigad, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurga, and Goa. During the last couple of years, Samiti of Konkan Pranta has organized online lecture series on Hindu Padapada Shahi of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, great women of ancient, medieval, and modern India, and contribution to the freedom struggle of India by the people from Konkan region under the name Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. Our another collaborator is Rambhau Malgi Prabodhini. In 1982, Rambhau Malgi Prabodhini was initiated as a unique leadership development academy with an aim to nurture, impart training and capacity building of elected representatives, social workers, as well as people running institutions, organizations, and startups. RMP has also been active in conceiving and executive research projects concerning socially pertinent issues, including those of the backward classes and rural communities. Its Knowledge Excellence Center serves as a perfect venue for all social and business needs, providing modern amenities and facilities. Our last but not least, our collaborator Northern Light. Northern Light is an event management company involved in organizing various heritage awareness programs like Mumbai Samskruti, and is very much active in public archaeology and heritage studies. They have yielded technical support for this seminar. So we are really thankful. Thank you one and all. I have one announcement. Now I request Professor Tanna to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Anuradha Ranade. Over to Professor Tanna. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh, 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 can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the host has muted my video. Hello.
Rahul, can you please start his video?
Okay. Just give me a minute. Yeah. I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Anuradha Ranade, the chief guest of today's inaugural session. Dr. Ranade began her career as a lecturer in 1985 and opted voluntary retirement as the head department of history and principal K.V. Pendarkar College of Arts, Commerce and Science in 2019. Dr. Ranade was a student of the University of Mumbai. She has obtained BA, MA, Diploma in Higher Education, MPhil, and PhD degrees from this, our own university. She is a research guide, and 4 students have been awarded a PhD degree under her guidance, and 5 more are presently working under her guidance. She is a dedicated research scholar. Her area of specialization is ancient Indian history, epigraphy, and her valuable contribution in the fields of epigraphy, Indology through her research articles. She has participated and presented in more than 100 conferences and seminars at national and international level. She has been invited as a resource person at various national and international conferences and seminars in India, USA, Italy, Turkey, Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, and Philippines. She has chaired the sessions at various national conferences and international conferences at some of these countries. More than 75 of her research papers have been published in national and international journals. Recently, she was honored to be the General President of the 40th Annual Congress of the Place Names Society of India, Mysore, in November 2021. Her book titled Socio-Economic Life of Maharashtra, 1100 to 1600, sorry, was published in 2010. She has contributed chapters to gazetteers of Maharashtra state and various encyclopedia and compendium. She has also co-authored more than 15 books for undergraduate and postgraduate students. She is a NAC assessor and the member of some peer teams. She is an elected member of the Board of Studies of History of University of Mumbai. She is the executive committee member of various national academic organizations such as the Epigraphic Society of India, the Place Name Society of India, Ancient Sciences and Archaeological Society of India. Sorry. She is the recipient of many research fellowships and grants and awards in diverse fields. Fellowship of UGC and Asiatic Society of Mumbai, Vocational Excellence Award by Rotary Club of Dombivli, Best Teacher Award by Jnana Sadhana College earlier. She is honored with the Long Service Medal by the Defense Ministry for her continuous and meritorious services in NCC. Recipient of Maharashtra State Highest Sports Award, that is Shri Chhatrapati Shivaji Sports Award in powerlifting. She is a national champion, sports personality of international repute, and represented India at Asian Championships in Japan in 1988 and brought individual bronze medal for our country. So such a varied personality. Thank you, madam. We welcome you and request you to start your address as the chief guest.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Is the video paused by the organizers?
Rahul, please see that the video is open.
Yeah, when you will start talking now, that time start your video.
Okay, fine, fine.
But we are unable to see her, Rahul. Please.
Okay.
Right. Shall I start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Namaskar. Respected dignitaries on the dais, distinguished personalities, Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Kulkarni, President of the session, inaugural session, Dr. Jamkhedkar, respected Dr. Tanna, and other dignitaries on the dais, other distinguished dignitaries in audience, scholars, and researchers. Greetings of the day to all of you. At the outset, I thank the organizers for inviting me to be here as the chief guest for today's inaugural session. I congratulate the organizing committee for selecting a very relevant theme for this interdisciplinary seminar jointly organized by the Department of Archaeology, Center for Extramural Studies, Sathe College, Itihas Sankalan Samiti Konkan Pranta, Rambhav Mahalgi Prabodhini, and the Northern Lights. We are now in the 75th year of independence. However, we did not gain this independence easily. The blood, tears, and sweat of lakhs of freedom fighters have gone into it. Everybody craves for freedom. Opposition to the foreign dominance is the most natural instinct that human beings possess. History of many of the countries is a witness to a long tradition for struggle for independence. Historical events are recorded variously and presented with different perceptions, ideologies, and interpretations. Most of the time, the main personalities and events are recorded and studied. But what about the contribution of unknown subaltern, the undercurrent sympathies towards freedom fighters, and the facts that are not recorded but still remain in the memories? Our independence did not come easily. Educated and uneducated, old and young, men and women, rich and poor, able-bodied and crippled workers, landlords and peasants, and a number of students in schools and colleges participated in the national movement. They sacrificed their lives, property, and love for the family. The story of struggle for independence is the saga of innumerable armed fights in the open fields and also the guerrilla warfare as a measure of expediency. The struggle was carried on ceaselessly since year 1498 in general and from establishment of the British rule in India in particular. We need to take stock of it and see where do we stand after 75 years of independence. I am sure today's seminar will do this. The researchers will bring to light the lesser known and unknown aspects of Indian freedom struggle and will contribute to the better understanding of freedom. The geographical discoveries of the last quarter of 15th century deeply affected the commercial relations of different countries of the world and produced far-reaching consequences in their history. Vasco da Gama found out a new route to India and reached the famous port of Calicut on 17th May 1498. This is the year from where the theme of today's seminar begins. The Portuguese did not confine their activities to trade and commerce, but began to take part in the political intrigues among the states of peninsular India. The other Europeans were the Dutch, the French, and the English. For the lucrative trade with India, they rivaled with each other. Finally, after the Battle of Plassey in 1757, the Englishmen became superior and began to control the Indian trade and affairs. Now, a mere trading body, that was the East India Company, was entirely transformed into a power which was eager to establish its position by territorial acquisition. The selfish interest of the British led to their aggressive policy and subjugation of Indian states. In year 1818, after the defeat of the Marathas, the whole India came under the alien rulers. It began in subjection and its effects were seen in uprising of 1857. Though prior to this, many people, groups, and even the states revolted against the British. 1857 was the first vengeful uprising of the national dimensions, which thoroughly shook the alien rulers. It is variously termed as the Revolt of 1857, the Great Rebellion, the Sepoy Mutiny, or the First National War of Independence. It was widespread geographically. Its essence was anti-British, its aim was independence, and its character was patriotic. With this background, I shall speak about the happenings in Mumbai in course of 1857. Under the color, as everyone knows, is aware that under the colonial rule, Bombay emerged as a commercial town. As a matter of fact, by the end of 18th century, the port of Bombay began to grow. Bombay was very important town for them. There was a constant development of Bombay Island. About 1825, Bombay exports became considerable. Bombay became nerve center of the textile industries. In 1860, Mumbai became the biggest cotton market in India, with many spinning and weaving mills located here. Bombay had assumed a great significance and was commercially ever growing. Bombay became a great commercial town. Bombay was the first port for landing in India and it had become the gateway of India. Its administration too was efficient and strong. Military establishments, including army and navy, were regularly installed here. Being the capital of Bombay Presidency, it had the efficient police administration. Under such circumstances, what were the happenings in Bombay in the course of 1857 mutiny? We can trace some important events during this time. The first one was the religious dissent in Bombay. It was due to the missionary activities that also was with support of the administrators. Teaching of Christian doctrine was made compulsory in educational institutions run by the missionaries. Bible study was introduced in the government schools and colleges. The missionaries established churches and made efforts to preach Christianity and convert people into the Christian faith. It created a sense of apprehension and hatred in the minds of both the Hindus and the Muslims. In Bombay, in June 1856, an incident of the conversion created unrest among the citizens. The incident was that there were 4 students of the Elphinstone College. They took the decision to embrace Christianity and asked the legal protection to the Bombay government. This decision was strongly opposed by all the Hindus, Muslims, and Parsis in the city. On 15th April 1857, Jagannath alias Nana Shankar Seth made a petition to the government stating that Preaching of the Christianity in the educational institution would be dangerous. The petition was signed by more than 1,000 people belonging to Hindu, Muslim, and Parsi faiths. Unfortunately, this petition was replied very plainly by the government. Around this time only, the revolt had outbroke in North India. Taking advantage of the situation, the government became suspicious about the petitioners and tried to connect them with the mutineers. A chaos was created against them in the newspaper, namely the Bombay Times. By this time, Bombay was the center of military movements too. Bombay was, as mentioned earlier, Bombay was the nearest Indian port to England. Obviously, Bombay became very active. Bombay port played a significant role in the movements of the military troops. All the British military regiments were first landing at Bombay, and from here, these were placed in North India to fight against the mutineers. Sir Hugh Roach, who had later praised the valor of Rani Lakshmi Bai, he too landed in Mumbai in September 1857 and then moved towards Bundelkhand. By this time, many people fled from North India and Bombay became shelter for the refugees. Under such circumstances, Bombay became the center of activities. Ships of Bombay Marine were sent to Calcutta for shifting the government treasure from Calcutta to Bombay. When revolt broke out at Meerut, immediately the news came to Bombay. Bombay government became alert and more active. Some of the Bhats, Bhikshukas, and Bairagis, they fled from North India, had reached to Maharashtra and Mumbai for shelter. In Bombay, the atmosphere became very tense. By this time, Mumbai atmosphere was so tense that when rumors of an outbreak of the mutiny swept in the city, many Europeans who were living at Kulaba fled their homes, seeking shelter in the ships in the harbor, returning only when rumors were dispelled. No wonder that government became so much alert about the revolutionary activities in North India. Special attention was given to the protection of Mumbai. Secret information was gathered to check any such activity. Still, there was a sensational mutiny-related event that shook the Bombay to its foundations, and that was the Bombay plot. In Bombay, 10th and 11th native infantry regiments were established. Due to the unrest among the soldiers, some of them planned an intrigue against the British officers. It was in the month of October 1857. A plot was planned by Subedar Gulmar Dubey. According to the planning, there would be a rebellion either in Diwali or on the day of Muharram. The plan was that the 10th and 11th native regiments would revolt against the British, capture Bombay, and move to Pune and declare Nana Sahib Peshwa as the ruler. By this time, Sir John Elphinstone was the governor of Bombay Presidency. He gave responsibility of safety of Bombay to Chief of the Police Department, Deputy Commissioner Charles Forget. He was half Indian and was well versed with Indian local languages. He was fluent in local language as an expert in disguise and often walked on the streets to gather information. During the mutiny time, he was more than ever on his guard. He traced his plan very secretly. It came to Forget's keen ears that there was a growing disaffection in the infantry and the secret meetings were being held in the home of one Ganga Prasad. Forget in the native dress secretly reached this place in Sonapur, that is close to marine lines, and heard through a breach in the wall, the group plotting a Diwali attack on the Firangis. Major Barrow, he too was with him. Now, Forget moved quickly and arrested the leaders of this proposed revolt. These conspirators were Ganga Prasad, Sheikh Rahiman, Drill Havaldar Sayyid Hussain of the Marine Battalion, and Sepoy Mangal Gaderia of 10th Native Indian Regiment. These were arrested and imprisoned. On the 13th October 1857, they were court-martialed at Fort St. George and pronounced guilty. Two of them, namely Drill Havaldar Sayyid Hussain of the Marine Battalion and Sepoy Mangal Gaderia of 10th Native Indian Regiment, were sentenced to death. These two conspirators were trussed with their backs to two cannons, Tofanna Bandla. This took place on the polo ground in fort area. Both were tied at the end of cannons. The execution took place in front of packed crowds, both Indian and European. There was a march past led by the armed marine sailors, followed by the artillery, marine battalion, and the soldiers of 10th and 11th Army battalions. This was to create the terror among the people. Then the findings of the court were read out publicly. Captain Miles delivered the order in thundering voice, and there was a sharp shooting, sharp report, a sudden flash of fire, and there lay scattered the bloody remnants of these two men. Thus, Forget broadcasted the message that any dissent would be dealt with similar manner. This was the most important happening in Bombay, yet another aspect must be taken into consideration in context of happenings in Mumbai and nearby region. That is, the refugees in Bombay and Bhiwandi. About refugees in Bombay, I've already spoken, and in Bhiwandi, let's see what happened. In course of the mutiny of 1857, thousands of the native artisans and weavers from Indo-Gangetic plains began coming down the old Agra road to escape from trouble. Most of the refugees sought protection in the domains under the rulers who were loyal to the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Jafar. Some reached to Maheshwar, the seat of Ahilyabai Holkar, on the banks of river Narmada. While some of the refugees moved further down, the road came to Burhanpur, then Dhulia, Malegaon, and Bhiwandi. Among them were the Momins and Ansaris who belonged to the weaver communities of Uttar Pradesh. They were the first to gauge the potential benefits of settling down in Bhiwandi. Very soon after the revolt was suppressed and the power was transferred to the British Parliament, the American Civil War broke out. This war further enhanced prospectus for the want of raw material for the mills in England. Bombay and the region round it emerged as a parallel hub for yarn and finished goods, finished cloth. Bhiwandi came in forefront due to its weaving communities who had taken refuge here in course of revolt of 1857. Today, Bhiwandi is very well known for its textile industries, and even today, the Momin and Ansari families are the leading business families in Bhiwandi. Thus, involvement of Bombay in the course of 1857 was modest, but it did not remained untouched. After independence, the place of this martyrdom where they were tied at the end of a cannon and were shooted. These martyrs due to for giving them honor, it was renamed. The place was Polo Ground was renamed as Azad Maidan as the tribute to the Bombay martyrs. With this, I would like once again thanks to the organizers, and once again I congratulate the organizing committee of the seminar and wish a grand success to this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradhaji Ranade, madam, our chief guest. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. A.P. Zamkhedkar, who has graciously agreed to preside over the session, our president. Professor Dr. A.P. Zamkhedkar, my guru, guide, philosopher, the president of Bharatiya Itihas Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Samiti, Konkan Pranta, Chancellor, Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute. Sir, we welcome you. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce you, sir. His basic education was in Sanskrit, linguistics, and archaeology. He did his PhD from Deccan College Postgraduate Research Institute in ancient Indian history, culture, and archaeology. He had a long teaching experience at various colleges in Marathwada and Vidarbha. He has taught Ardhamagadi, Sanskrit, ancient Indian history, culture, and archaeology. And then he became director of Directorate of Archaeology, Government of Maharashtra. He was in chair for more than 20 years and successfully conducted various excavations, conservation projects, and he has established and enhanced the museums in Maharashtra. He has worked as chairman ICHR. He is presently Chancellor, Deccan College Postgraduate Research Institute, a deemed to be university. He has also worked as Director, Tejas Somaya Center for Southeast Asian Studies. He was Vice President at Asiatic Society of Mumbai. He had surveyed and excavated numerous archaeological sites, and his first love, his specialization in archaeology is historical archaeology with special reference to Vakatakas and their cultural heritage. He has numerous publications on his name in form of national, international papers, as well as he has published numerous books. One of the most landmark publication of Professor Jamkhedkar is Ajanta, which is published by Oxford University Press. He was responsible for designing numerous courses for University of Mumbai, Deccan College, Pune University, Nagpur University, Aurangabad University, so on. He had received numerous fellowships. To name one of them is the Netherlands government's reciprocal fellowship. So it's a huge biodata which is in front of me, and basically Professor Jamkhedkar needs no introduction, but I dare to speak about Professor Jamkhedkar as a part of the procedure of the conference. Now may I request Professor Dr. Jamkhedkar to give his presidential remarks. Professor Dr. Jamkhedkar. I think he is facing some technical problem. Just pardon us for couple of minutes.
Just an announcement. Jamkedkar sir is joining soon.
Hello, Dr. Jamkhedkar sir. Sir has joined the meeting again. He was out of this meeting due to some technical issue. Rahul, may I request you to unmute him? Jamkhedkar sir. Yeah, Jamkhedkar sir, may I request you to give your presidential remarks, presidential address?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
All the dignitaries on the dais, Professor R.D. Kulkarni, Balmukunji Pandey, all the members of the Itihas Sankalan Samiti of Konkan Prant, as also Vijayawada representing the Sathe College, who have jointly organized this seminar. I'm really very happy to be present here to attend this seminar, which has been organized in a very wonderful manner in consultation with persons like Professor Tanna and others. As explained by Professor R.D. Kulkarni, there was a need which was felt all the time that we should be independent before the actual independence came in 1947. But there were so many other things which had to be faced by the Indian people in last 75 years. I'm really glad to refer to the speech given by Professor Ranade, who attracted our attention to what exactly happened when the so-called immunity, which was actually the national war of independence, rightly described by her. And she referred to a Subedar making a plan to have an uprising, taking over the city of Bombay and then reaching Pune. Many times, objection is taken to such type of independent and very faithful types of protests, resistance, and uprising and war by certain historians. They said there was no such thing as nationalism during those times. Many of the people who participated in the War of Independence of 1857 had their own parochial personal agendas, because of which they joined. Say, for example, many of the states, princely states, they joined because they were not happy with the policy that their lineage should be continued. It was discontinued. So it was because of their personal interests that and therefore, when such incidents are cited, they should forget one thing. They forget one thing. And that is that the type of invasions which had happened in the course of Indian history, there is a clear difference between the invasions or political attacks which are done prior to 900 AD in India. You take examples right from the Greeks, Shakas, Hunas. These were the main, you can say, invasions which happened in the country. But as history will tell you, that among the Greeks there was a Heliodorus who became a devotee of the Satvata religion, who became a devotee of Krishna and Vishnu and Balarama. The first coins of Krishna, depicting Krishna and Balarama, are issued by the Hellenistic kings who ruled Gandhara region. Shakas and Kushanas, I need not tell you that Shakas not only accepted, but actually the later Shakas, they introduced Shaka Kshatrapas, they introduced Sanskrit as the language of their communication. Their inscriptions are in that language. Whereas the others, such as Hunas, for example, the Hunas are taken to be a scourge and they were responsible for the vanquishing of or complete destruction of the Holy Roman Empire. But then, in the case of Indians, the foremost of the Hunas, he said that he would not bend his neck or his head before any god than Shiva himself. In short, these people did not have any religious agenda. The sultans and others, it is many times argued that Somnath was looted because of the enormous wealth which was gathered by the priestly class over there. And it was only economic reasons that these people came. I don't accept. We have to understand the meaning of the word Butchikan. They had an agenda, and that continues even up to Tipu. In the case of the British, only one thing we have to grant in the case of all these sultanates, that they did not carry the wealth to countries outside from where they came. The agenda of the British was totally different. It was not only economic, it was political and also religious. And it is because of that, that in the 1980-57 war, because as the British companies, they were against their dharmas which were there. As in the case of Orissa, the Paikravs, their lands, they were removed by the British. The Devadeya, that was also obstructed. It is not only that, but they came in the simple, natural way of the forest-dwelling people whom we call tribals. And they brought harm into not only their cultural style, but their economic way of living. It was, you need not call it, everybody did not know what was nationalism in the way the scholars will discuss in the halls of historians. Everybody was knowing one thing, that culturally we are all together, and therefore the struggle was from that point of view. I'm very glad that Professor Ranade and all the dignitaries who are present here, they have spared their valuable time and come here, and we have made, we can say, a very good beginning of the seminar. And I wish all success to the persons who have very enthusiastically. I am told that there are about 32 papers which were received, and I'm sure that most of them will get an opportunity to present their ideas. We have come here to celebrate not simply the independence, but we have come here to remember our history of resistance. Resistance which was given for last 1200 years, as rightly put by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And therefore, I wish all success for this seminar organized by the Sathe College and the Itihas Sankalan Yojana and many other institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. A.P. Jamkhedkar sir, for your guidance, blessings. Now, may I request Dr. M.R. Rajwade, Principal, Sathe College Autonomous, to propose vote of thanks to the dignitaries. Professor Dr. Madhav Rajwade sir.
Thank you, Professor Pandit. My video requires to be switched on. Hello?
Yes. Please switch on. I have sent request.
Rajwade sir video चालू करें. Rahul?
I sent him request.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Pandit. It is indeed my pleasure to offer a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries with which we have a kind of an umbilical cord, and we have been with them for so many years now. So I start with the Ramba Malgi Prabodhini, Sri Ravindra Sathe sir, for having given his consent to be part of this particular seminar. And now with the autonomous status also, we have association with Sri Ravindra Sathe sir. Then thereafter, our own university, that is in the form of Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, who had this august presence today. And in his speech, he spoke about the, in fact, the whole continuum. That is from the point of view of our freedom struggle and the legacy of that freedom struggle, and the scientific approach which was taken by our scientists pre-independence, and the also 21st century Bharat. So thank you, University of Mumbai, for giving us this opportunity to organize this seminar. And also particularly so Dr. Madhavi Narsare Madam, who has been the guide in this in our endeavor. And of course, I cannot forget Dr. Prachi Moghe Madam, who is always with us in this particular program and many other programs. Of course, Surendra Tanna sir for being with us, and also Balmukund Pandey of All India Itihas Sanshodhan Yojana, Sankalan Yojana, and Dr. Anuradha Ranade madam. She spoke about the Indian War of Independence 1957 and the connection of Mumbai in this particular context. So thank you, madam, for your remarks. And lastly, I cannot forget Jamkhedkar sir, who is like a huge resource to us. And we have been taking advantage, I should say, being benefited. Advantage would be the wrong word. We have been benefited by his benevolence on many previous occasions. And I particularly share every moment of it, every second of it, because he represents knowledge in my capacity as a learner, I would say. The whole towering personality in the field of AIC, ancient Indian culture, archaeology, and everything related to it. So in the end, as a principal of Satya College Autonomous, I sincerely thank all the stakeholders of this seminar, including the paper presenters, because without them, this kind of academic activity is not possible at all. I went through the details of various subjects which are going to be addressed. So those are also of quite varied in nature. So congratulations again to all the stakeholders for this topical seminar, which is actually the duty of every conscientious Indian, and we are really celebrating in a meaningful way, I would say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your guidance. Now, with the permission of chair, I will announce that I would like to announce that this session inaugural session is over, and now at 12 o'clock, all the plenary sessions will begin, and for the same Google Meet links have been shared with the participants. Thank you. राहुल, आपण अजून लाईव्ह आहोत का?